So our learning objectives for today are the crew members will be able to follow the new policies, rules, and regulations on the vessel. Number two, the department will be having a stable work environment. So, why do we need policies, rules, and regulations? We need policies, rules, and regulations to have a disciplined life in society. Every society is governed with certain rules and regulations which is necessary for people to follow. Man is a social human being and he needs to live in a society with others. For living in a society that he needs to follow a certain rules and protocols of the society. The rules can be informal or formal ones. The rules are needed to bind people together and for showing respect and courtesy to one another. So, difference between policies and rules and regulations. Policies. Department policy means the principles or means of implementing the purposes relevant to a department. Department policy is made by the relevant committee. Rules or regulations. Department rules or regulations means any rule or regular implemented by the department. So this is our new implemented policies, rules, and regulations. Number one, punctuality. Punctuality is probably one of the primary bastions of professionalism in any field, and seafarers are required to be punctual in every aspect of their life on board ships. Shore leave or reporting for watchkeeping duties. Seafarers must value time on board ships. Delay of any kind of operation can lead to the delay of the whole ship, resulting in loss of both time and money. Number 2. Drinking. Sobriety of essential of the basic functioning of manpower on board or a merchant ship, with the value of the ship and their cargo running into millions of dollars. Navigating the vessel under the influence of alcohol seems ridiculous in every way. Most ship owners have prohibited the consumption of liquor on board. Example, enforced a no alcohol policy. In the case where such a policy is in effect, it is mandatory to adhere it. Number 3. Drugs. As with any other workplace, narcotics are a complete no-no on board, as well as ashore while on shore leave. It is unlawful to consume, possess, or distribute drugs on board ships. A seafarer found guilty of consuming or possessing drugs is liable to dismissal from his or her job and also subject to legal proceedings. It is to note that certain countries have very strict rules against drugs which involve capital punishment. The act of transporting it is a guaranteed route to long life imprisonment. It is therefore advisable to every seafarer to steer completely clear from any such activity or habits. Not to forget the risk posed to the safety of the vessel when narcotics are in question, whether it pertains to consumption. Number 4. Weapons. Any kind of offensive weapons which can be fatal or not allowed on board ships. A seafarer found guilty of such acts is liable to legal proceedings and suspension. It is possible that the country one is in the has lax gun law enabling easy purchase and use of weapons. As with the contrabands mentioned above, it is the best to steer clear. Certain flags might allow the master to have his gun for the safety of the vessel, but under no circumstances is the individual carriage of any weapon allowed on board. Punishment for this is also extremely harsh, and rightfully so. Number 5. Carrying out of duties. Every seafarer is required to perform duties to the best of his or her abilities. It is necessary that seafarers properly understand their duties and obey all the commands and instructions which are within their scope. Number 6. Smoking. Most of the ship owners follow no smoking policy on board ships, especially on tankers and those carrying dangerous flammable cargo. No smoking rules should be strictly followed in board ships to prevent fire accidents. Designated smoking rooms are the only places where a smoker should smoke. Smoking poses a threat to the safety of a vessel when done on deck. Owing to the flammable nature of the cargo, smoking in cabins should also be prohibited for the chances of a mishap due to human error can be devastating. Number 7. Behavior towards colleagues on board. Misbehavior and antisocial attitude are not tolerated on board ships. Seafarers who are involved in actions such as abusive language including racism, sexual harassment and aggressive attitude, and offensive personal habits can face suspension or discontinuation of their job contracts. Owing to the multicultural nature of shipboard work, it is important for every seafarer to adapt to the various needs and customs of different individuals and imbibe the positive aspects to further the efficiency of work. Do unto others as you would want others do unto you. Bringing unauthorized persons on board. Seafarers are not allowed to bring any unauthorized persons on board ships. Ship and port authority rules should be strictly followed regarding bringing of unauthorized persons on board to prevent legal actions. Standing rules prohibit the entry of unauthorized persons into the port facility or the ship itself. If the need arises, proper permits shall be obtained to facilitate any such entry. One must not skirt the existing security laws to allow anybody to enter the ship. Number 9. Treatment of ship's property and accommodation area. When seafarers are on ships, the ship is not just their place of work, but also their place of living. It is therefore important that seafarers treat their ship's property and accommodation area with respect and take proper care of the same. Not to sound pedantic, but treat the ship like you would treat your own home. The property and everything else contained is bound to be part of one's daily usage in some form, and it must all be treated with a level of respect. Number 10. Unlawful activities. Apart from above mentioned practices, there are certain unlawful activities and misconducts seafarers should avoid. Any seafarer found guilty and actions such as assault, willful damage to ship's property, persistent disobedience, and actions endangering ship or person on board, continuous failure in performing duties, normal or cargo theft, actions compromising safety of the ship, and ill treatment towards onboard personnel can face suspension of the contract, other severe actions against him or her. To sum it all up, stick to your job. Be respectful to the property and others, and don't be a crook.